Holly is a great friend of mine and a fellow mascara artist, and she came to visit this past weekend with her kids, and we of course had to play with makeup. So I recorded her makeover. I hope you guys enjoy it. The first thing we're gonna do is figure out her highlight. She said that she wears Moonlight and White Peach for her highlight colors, and lately she's been using more White Peach because she's got a little sun lately, and we had been in the sun the day before, so her nose and cheeks and her chin were a little red. So when I tried the White Peach that she normally wears, it wasn't really covering the redness like I wanted it to. And when a highlight color doesn't give the coverage I'm looking for, I go one highlight shade darker, and the next highlight shade darker than White Peach is Aura, so that's what I tried, and it covered her redness perfectly. I just focused the Aura on the red areas, so her nose, cheeks, around her nose, and her chin area, and then the rest of her face I used White Peach. She had just a little bit of darkness in the inner corners of her eyes, so I went even darker and used candlelit highlight there, and it covered the darkness really well. I applied all the highlight colors that I mentioned using the smaller end of the Buffy brush. I love the Buffy brush for the coverage that it gives, and it also gives a great finish. She had some redness right along the lash line that I couldn't quite get to without really poking her in the eyes. So I handed her the brush and she went in and really got in there and covered the redness around her eyes with candlelit. One of my favorite things about mascara makeup is that it's super easy to color correct with it and get the colors that you need right where you need them. So where she had redness, I put a certain color, and then the rest of her face I put a different color, and it all just blends together and looks very natural and skin-like. Next, I'm putting her contour on, and I used Ash for her contour and applied it with the small end of the blush and bronzer brush. I just pinched the bristles together to make the brush skinnier so that I could create a nice contour line. I'm taking the contour up along her hairline and blending it back into her hairline so that it looks super natural, and then blending that line out a little bit underneath her jaw, taking it down the neck. Next, I used the small end of the eyeshadow everything brush using Aura highlight to spot treat some of the blemishes on her chin, forehead, and around her nose. I used Aura because it covered her redness really well on her face, and since blemishes are normally red, it's best to use a darker color than their main highlight color to cover up those blemishes. So Aura was the perfect color. Next, I applied Frenchie lip and cheek with a small end of the blush and bronzer brush to her cheeks, and then I flipped it around to the larger end to blend it out and soften it. She said that Frenchie is one of her favorite colors to wear, and I can totally understand why, because it looked so gorgeous on her. For her eyes, I used the fluffy end of the eyeshadow everything brush to apply Valencia all over her lids. Then I flipped the brush around and applied the same color on her lower lash line. In the outer corners of her eyes, I put basic and blended it with the fluffy end of the eyeshadow everything brush. I then flipped the brush around to the smaller end of the eyeshadow everything brush and put the basic eyeshadow along the lower lash line. Now on to her brows. I first brushed her brows up using the spoolie end of the hotline brush. Then I flipped the brush over and used the angled end to apply oak eyeshadow to fill in her brows. I had her add some Hollywood lip and cheek to her lips with her finger, and it looked so beautiful on her. Next, I added some Angel Illuminator to the tops of her cheekbones and the tip of her nose with my finger. I love Angel Illuminator because it's got kind of this pinky color to it, and it matched really well with the Hollywood on her lips and the Frenchie on her cheeks. Next, I had her apply her own mascara, and then I added a little bit of liner to her upper lash line using Kohl eyeshadow, and I applied that with the angled brush end of the hotline brush. Next, I grabbed the eyeshadow everything brush and used the smaller end to soften the eyeliner on her top lash just a little bit. I accidentally smudged the eyeliner a little too high, so I took just a tiny bit of highlight and cleaned it up. And now on to the next eye. I like to add a tiny bit of the eyeliner color to the bottom lash line, just the outer corner, and I'm using the eyeshadow everything brush, the small end, to smudge that out. The last thing I did was brighten under her eyes in a pie shape. Then I did it between her brows and around her nose and in the center of her chin using Moonlit highlight and the small end of the Buffy brush. And we are done. Doesn't she look so beautiful? If you would like some of this makeup for yourself, take my color match quiz. It's at aishalyn.com/color match, and I'll match you to the perfect shades for your skin tone. Thanks for watching.